This woman right here, her name is Marsha, and she's one of the many reasons why when a woman breaks up with you or when a woman leaves you because you are broke or you things are not just rosy at that point in time, she's one of the many reasons why you don't take back such women. Today, I bring you a confession, a story of a woman whose name is Mesha. You see, this story is so heavy on the soul of the woman who lived it. Her name is Mesha, like I said, a woman driven by hunger for wealth. Hunger so deep that it led her down a path darker than you can imagine. You see, this is not a story of triumph, but one of regret, one of betrayal. It is a story, and trust me, all this happened in the bustling city of Lagos, Nigeria. Maisha was a woman who had always craved success. She and her husband were living a simple, humble life, running a small shop in their neighborhood. You see, they weren't rich, but they were not starving either. To most, it seems like a life of contentment. But for Maisha, that life wasn't just enough. She wanted more. She dreamt of owning a supermarket, a big one where people would line up to buy from her shelves. She wanted the kind of wealth that made people sit up and notice. Now, Misha wasn't always like this. There was a time when she was satisfied, but then she met a man, a wealthy man, who introduced her to a life, that life that she had never known. He gave her gifts, took her to fancy places, and showed her what it was like to live a life of luxury. She became addicted to it, lost in the thrill of this wealth and status he brought. But as quickly as he came into her life, he left. He discarded her, calling her a parasite. He was kind of saying she wasn't worthy of the life he offered her. That blow was just too hard for her. He shattered her, and she was just lost in that moment. Devastated, Maisha returned to her husband. He, of course, had no idea of the whirlwind she had been caught up in. He welcomed her back with open arms, eager to return to the life they had built together. But for Maisha, that life was just too small now. She could no longer be satisfied with what they had. She needed more, and so she convinced her husband to ask his boss for a loan. That loan that they just wanted to, expand their shop. It was a small amount though, but just enough to keep them afloat. But it wasn't just enough for Misha at this point, because at this point she had stuffs in her mind that she already envisioned. Then came the moment that changed everything. She met with this woman. Her name is Madame Key, a woman of immense wealth and power. Marshall have heard of her and the whisper of her influence and the mystery that surrounded her. Madame Key was everything Marshall wanted to be, rich, respected, feared. Marshall sought her out, hoping for guidance, hoping for a way to make her dreams come true. She didn't know what the price would be far greater than she ever imagined. When Misha entered Madame King's home, the house was filled with strange objects, symbols she didn't understand. But, she stayed calm because she needed what she wanted, and that kept her going. The hunger for wealth clouding her judgment. Madame Key listened to Marshall's dream of becoming wealthy and powerful. She offered to help, but not in the way Marshall had expected. You don't need money, you see, Madame Key told her. You need power, and I can give you power beyond your wildest dream. What Marshall didn't realize then was the power always comes with a cost. Madame Key handed her a small piece of red paper, instructed her to write down her name on it. She was desperate after all. Then Madame Key gave her a white piece of paper, showed her how to fold it, and told her to place it under the mattress at home. Every night before you sleep, call your husband's name, she said, but make sure he doesn't hear you. Masha thought it was just a harmless ritual, just a bit of superstition perhaps, but she was wrong, so terribly wrong. A few days later, Madame Key called her again. This time they were to visit another woman, someone with even greater powers, someone who could seal Marshall's fate. You see, she was kind of nervous, but driven by greed. Marshall went with her. They arrived at the home of this spiritual woman who needed no introduction. If you want to be wealthy truly, you need to make a sacrifice. The woman said, the spirit of a loved one, your husband. Marcia ruled. The very thought of sacrificing her own husband, the man who had stood by her so long, who loved her, seems too much to bear. But then the woman spoke of wealth, of a life filled with riches, of businesses that will flourish beyond her wildest dream. All of these things are things that Marcia wanted, and with greed, she agreed to it. Not only would her husband's spirit be taken, but they would need to cut part of him to, cut his hand, like she said. In her desperation, Maisha was confused and she was also convinced as well, and this was the only way. She told herself that her husband, though a good man, could never give her the life she truly wanted. And she agreed. The plan was simple, and they were just to bring her husband to the spiritual woman's home under the pretense of discussing land for their business. When they brought him, when he stepped into the compound of this woman, his fate was sealed. After that, he fell sick, and Marsha would give him the final dose of the charm that would take his life. His hand would be cut and put in a small coffin. That coffin would then ensure her business would thrive forever. When the day came, Marsha brought her husband to the spiritual woman's home. This man was kind of trusting his wife completely and had no doubt in anything at all. And he believed they were there for business, not knowing that the moment he stepped on the ground, his life was already, useless. He grew sick, just as they said, and Marsha coldly, without hesitation, gave him the charms to drink, pretending it was medicine to make him better. When he died, the spiritual woman and Madame Key took care of everything. They prepared his body for burial, and his hand was taken. It was stitched with another body. Marsha's husband was buried with the wrong hand. The real hand, the one they secured for her wealth, was hidden in the small coffin, just as promised. From that moment, the shop began to thrive. Customers flocked to it, and it drew so much unseen force. Every morning, Marsha would place the coffin at the door of the shop. Every night, she would take it to her home, and the hand was always there, never decay, and stayed fresh, not as if it has been cut for long. Marsha knew it. It was the hand that was bringing those customers. But with every single day passing, that guilt kept ringing in her mind. Every time Marsha looked at the coffin, she saw her husband's face, and trust me, the love, everything that happened between them, constantly remembering everything, and the world around her shattered. She no longer desired the company of men. She couldn't even bear to be close to anyone. The wealth, the success, everything was there, but she still felt lonely. And now Marsha stand alone in a thriving supermarket, haunted by the choices she made. That hand still hidden in the coffin continues to bring her customers. It also brings her torment. She can hear it at night, whispering, calling her, reminding her of the life she took, the love she sacrificed for wealth that will never feel inside her. This is the Shino, and see you in the next episode.